Welcome back. We all have celebrity crushes that we may dream about when we see them on television or in a magazine. But what happens if you find yourself fantasizing about a coworker or maybe even one of your husband's friends? What's normal and when do those fantasies become too real? Well, here to help us is our professional counselor, Lindsay Walden, this morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Woo, we got a lot to talk about today.
I know.
You know, I was just talking to you, there's a recent survey, one in AskMen.com. 60% of the men asked, admitted, yes, I fantasize about my wife's friends.
Yeah, I believe that.
And Cosmopolitan just did one about 2 weeks ago. Only 26% of the women said that they fantasize about their men's friends.
Interesting that it would be such a difference between the men and the women. Some of that could have to do with, I think as a society we're a little more accepting of men having, you know, maybe that drive or that instinctual, like, visual.
So they're more likely
creatures.
to admit it maybe than the women?
Maybe, but I also don't know that all women necessarily go around just constantly fantasizing about other people either, so it's...
Because we're kind of wired differently. Men are much more visual.
Can be, absolutely.
So let's talk about it. Whether we're fantasizing about people we know or celebrities, is it okay? Is that healthy?
Absolutely. Well, not only is it okay, it's kind of unavoidable. It's very natural, it's very normal, very healthy. It really has to do with the kinds of things that we find maybe attractive or that we're drawn to in other people. There's going to be more than maybe one person that fits that bill, that like flips those switches for us. But not every person do we actually act on and go forward and try and build something relational.
It's not necessarily saying that there's anything wrong with your relationship with your spouse or partner.
Right, absolutely. It's just, I mean, let's say that you meet someone and you click with that person and maybe you're in a relationship and so you're not really able to act on those feelings. You can still recognize it as a connection and you can still maybe have that fantasy, but you don't take it any further than just maybe that fleeting thought or set of thoughts sometimes, I guess.
So what do you do with these feelings? I mean, is this, something that you just think of? It's just like a flash in your head? Is it a problem when you think more than just that flash? I mean, how do you know when you're going too far?
Well, I think it depends on the person a lot in terms of what's comfortable. But for a lot of people, maybe you can utilize those feelings if something really, you know, gets you going a little bit. Especially if we're talking about like a celebrity or something like that, maybe you use that kind of mojo that's being built up in your relationship. You kind of harness it in a good way so that it's not going outside the relationship. However, if we start to kind of feel like the fantasies are just happening all the time and I find myself just constantly dreaming about this other person or thinking about this other person, maybe that is speaking to I'm not getting what I need in my primary relationship, and so I'm longing for something else.
Because I think a lot of people who are watching right now would be a little concerned if they found out their spouse was fantasizing about their friends. Like, they don't want the thoughts of their friend in their husband's head, ever. Or especially if they're using that fantasy to get them fired up in the bedroom with their spouse.
I get that, and it's maybe not even that we want to like use that as the go-to or the crutch, but it's that idea that if there really is something that you're recognizing in another person and you maybe have that fantasy moment, there's a good chance that those same characteristics are present in the person that you've chosen to be with. Because we do have a set of criteria that we're usually attracted to that kind of, you know, allure us or kind of pull us in. And so it's possible that the characteristics are there. Maybe it's, you know, that we're just kind of longing for something and we want to address that. And that's when therapy comes in really handy to be able to address, well, what is it that may be missing in the primary relationship, or has some of that spark gone away? How can we reignite that?
So I guess everyone at home, if you're fantasizing about Brad Pitt, it's okay.
Sure.
Unless you're starting to obsess about him and you only see him in your dreams and no longer your husband.
Sure, and some people, they do. They get a little carried away with, you know, the fantasy. It becomes almost obsessive. But fantasies are very normal. They absolutely are. We just, you know, anytime that it could be potentially dangerous to either you or your relationship, that's when we would want to really talk about, is something going on here that needs to be addressed.
Good to know. I like how you answer things. You get right to the point. Make it very clear for us, Lindsay.
Well, good.
Thank you.
Good.
And we posted a link to Lindsay's website on greatdaystlouis.com. But today on Facebook, we're not finished with you. We want to know, are you fantasizing about people other than your husband? Is it his friends, or is it an actress? Maybe it's Brad Pitt, or I mean an actor, Brad Pitt or David Beckham. Maybe it is an actress. Whatever floats your boat. Jennifer Lopez, get on Facebook and let us know, because she's hot. I can tell you, yeah, girl crush on Jennifer Lopez, but I've never had a fantasy about her. I wouldn't say that.
Good.
I just want to look like her, that's
If
all.
you do, let us know. We're going to do a show on that.
Yeah.
Next Virginia. Don't let that Brad Pitt out of your brain just yet, even though, you don't want to obsess too much. We're going to get back to that. The temperature may finally be cooling down here in St. Louis, but summer is still in full swing for a lot of our favorite celebrities.